Over there, that's where he dragged them, bound with ropes. He executed some inside, forcing them to the ground. The rest he tore apart, savagely scratching away at their flanks with his fingers. With one quick chop, he severed the head of a white-footed ram and let it drop to the floor. Then, grabbing another by the throat, he tied it down and ripped out its tongue. Then he lashed it with his harsh whip until there was nothing left to lash. All the while spewing vile words that must have come from God.
And hear this clearly. No man shall ever touch my arms or win them in a contest after I'm done. They'll not be taken by the Greeks or by the thief who stole my honour. They now belong to my boy. After which he was named. That's right. Son, Ulysses means strong shield. That's what you're destined to be. So take what's rightfully yours and carry it with you always. As your namesake, my unbreakable shield sewn from the hides of 7 bulls. The rest of the arms will be buried in my body. I take it away from me. Lock the door. Now! And hold back your tears. This is no time for crying. Go inside, shut the gates before I lose my knife.
It scares me to hear you speak with such an edge in your voice.
I know that, Tony Jax. What evil thing are you planning to do?
No more questions! Silence is best. These are the last words you will hear Ajax speak. The rest I shall say to those who listen in the world. Bill.
Honour, dishonour, shame, humiliation, rejection, isolation, abandonment, information, but the big one of all, which throughout the whole of my career is the why question. Everybody wants to know, why has this happened? Why am I dishonoured? Why have I been rejected? Why am I suffering humiliation? So it's always the why question. This is what comes out of this text for me.
The line in the play, crying is for women and cowards, certainly is a belief held by most, if not all, of our veterans. And therefore, when we start treatment and they start to cry and they start to feel, it's a very abnormal sensation that we have to do an awful lot of work, just allowing them the ability to be able to speak about their trauma. And sadly, many of them take the route that Ajax did in the play. This seems to be a more honourable and more strong way of dealing with their trauma experiences than to ask for help or to say that they are fearful of life as it is.
The play itself, it was like they had written that for me, because every emotion that was said in that was my emotions that I'm going through now, to present day. The emotions from the wife to the husband to the wife, it all fell into place, and it was as if 2,500 years ago he was writing a story about myself to this day. So it was very emotional for me, very raw, because I go through those emotions daily. So I do feel the guilt. I lost one man on my patrol, I lost one man in 6 months, but that one man's wife will always haunt me. So post-traumatic stress is a major, major part of my life. In 500 years ago, there was a man going through hell. Unfortunately, Ajax took the ultimate way, but left a lot of pain behind me. And that's the problem with PTSD. If ultimately we can't solve the problem, we always leave pain behind.
And when someone goes into battle, they have to put emotion away. But being human, they can only take so much, and then the smallest thing, like a trip switch, can bring a surge of emotion that's being suppressed, and that is destructive.
My first trauma was Bosnia. We were first resident to Bosnia in 1992, and we saw whole villages mutilated. But as a young soldier, you manage that and put that into, as you said, the filing system into your brain. Then the next one was Kosovo, then the next one was Iraq, then Sierra Leone, and then Iraq again, and then Afghanistan. By this point, I'm nearly 40 years old. I was only 19 years old when I went to Bosnia, so I was young enough to store those. By the time I got to Afghanistan, I was 39 years old. What more trauma could I hold? So it's right with what you're saying is that all of that trauma now starts tumbling forward. So everything you've forgotten, you remember as if it was yesterday.
A giant Marine came up to me after the performance. The 3-1 Marines, one of the most storied and heavily deployed units in the Marine Corps in Afghanistan. And he came up to me and he said, "I liked your little skit." And I thought to myself, yeah, that's right, it is a skit, it's a skit. It's a skit. We're up there doing a skit. And I said, "Well, what did you like about it?" And he said, "It was pure. And it didn't have anything up its sleeve." Now, that may or may not be true, but his perception of it was that just some actors in their street clothes reading a story from 2,500 years ago felt pure. And I think once we connect the impulse behind the story with why it should be told now and for whom, whose stories are these? Who has the proprietary right to be talking about them? Then all these electrifying connections